Everyone, I'm really glad to be back with everyone today. Welcome back to another week. I hope meatballs last week went well for everyone. I had a really fun time making them for everyone, and they're a really good dish to have with spaghetti or some sauce, and really anything you really want to have meatballs with, and they're really good for freezing in the freezer, and I hope you really enjoyed making them. And this week we're going to be making Katsudon, which is a pork cutlet dish on top of rice with egg on top of it. It's a really good dish that I like to make a whole lot, and when I have time, I like to make it regularly. As a hit with my family, and albeit you really can't freeze this dish, you can freeze the pork cutlets, but not the dish. You can keep it in the fridge for a couple of days, and it stays really good as leftovers. I hope everyone enjoys this dish, and we're gonna get straight into the ingredients. So, the first thing you're gonna need is a whole onion. This onion is one of the things that you're going to use in the dish as something you eat in it. You're going to need a couple of You're going to need a couple of pork chops, pork loin specifically, if you're going to make this for multiple people. However, you only need one if you're going to make it for one person. You're going to need some salt and pepper for seasoning. No, if you don't want to use salt though, it's perfectly okay. You're going to need some soy sauce. I use low sodium soy sauce. It works really well for me. You can use regular soy sauce. Basically, any type of normal soy sauce works. Dashi, I like to use one dashi packet. Dashi is a type of Japanese soup stock. You can find it in Japanese grocery stores, or you can order it online. I haven't really seen it too much in the Asian section of grocery stores. So if you can find this, this is a good thing to use for the dish. This is a mushroom dashi. There are vegetable dashis as well. You're gonna want to use the sushi rice. Theoretically, you could use any rice with this dish, but this is the rice that it's meant to be served with, which is Japanese sushi rice. Again, you can find this in the Asian section of a grocery store most of the times. I found sushi rice in Fairway, Kafaso's Market before. I've also seen sushi rice on Japanese grocery stores, and worse comes to worse, you can order it online. You're going to want to use your canola oil for frying. This is what you're going to fry your pork cutlets in. You're going to want to use sake as well. Sake is a type of Japanese alcohol. It's a really good alcohol to cook with. This is cooking sake. If you don't want to use sake, I believe you can substitute water instead. You're going to want to use these special Japanese panko breadcrumbs. I've used panko in other dishes before. I'm not sure if I've shown them on this channel before, but panko is a special type of Japanese breadcrumb. They're really crispy and really nice for frying things in. I really like using them even with chicken cutlets. Next thing you're going to need is some eggs. I have 3 eggs here. We're going to be using more. These are going to be used for on top of the pork cutlet. These are going to go on top of the pork cutlet when we actually cook it in this small pan. And they're going to be used as an egg coating for when we actually bread our pork cutlets. Are we still recording? I think we're still recording. We're still recording. This is wonderful. Next thing we're going to need is some flour and sugar. Flour we're going to be using in the breading process, and sugar is going to go in our dashi stock. So those are all the ingredients we're going to be using. So what's the first thing that we're going to do? The first thing that we are going to do is we're going to start making our rice. For one person, you can use 1 cup of rice. You should be good with that. But I typically do this dish in large quantities because my entire family likes this dish. So, except my mom. So I'll generally make it for 4 people. Myself, my brother, my sister, and my dad. So if you see me using a lot of larger quantities, that's because this dish is for more... I'm making this dish for more people. You can make it for yourself, of course. Rice. So I got my rice. 2 or 3 cups of this rice should be okay. I personally like a cup of rice I personally like a cup of rice to a cup of water. That's the measurement I generally use. That's 3 cups of rice. We'll get 3 cups of water, and then we'll get this boiling. Sushi rice is really sticky and wonderful. When I originally was younger and I tried to eat rice with chopsticks that my parents brought at home, I had a lot of trouble doing it, and that was mostly because it wasn't sticky rice. But this rice is sticky rice, which makes it a lot easier to eat with chopsticks. It's 1 cup. It's 2 cups. And that's 3 cups. Now we're gonna wait for this rice to come to a boil. And then we're gonna put it on simmer for 20 minutes. Where's my cupboard? Alrighty, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up our onion. So here's our onion right here. We're into our cutting board that we have set up here, and then cut. I generally like to cut like so. I like to have not strips of onions, but half moons for skin. You can rinse it off quickly. I'm going to double check something, so I'll be back in a minute. So stay tuned for the next part.